Hi guys.
Oh, hi guys. I didn't know it was going.
It's the moment you've all been waiting for. I'm just gonna say now, it's snowing and I feel like if the lighting changes, I have no control over it. So sorry. We're just gonna get into it, guys, because I have a feeling this is gonna be a long video, so get comfy. Grab yourself some tea, some water, a couple of snacks. The way this video came about was I was filming Vlogmas, and I was talking about something, and I had the idea of just like having a tell-all, because for various reasons that we will get into, we have not been able to share our side of the story. And by the story, if you guys are watching this and you don't know the background of why we're doing this, wow, this is gonna be a mess. So how long has it been? 5 years?
5 years.
My mom decided to do the Ancestry DNA because she was hoping to find her dad's dad. And so she took the initiative and she was trying to find, some relatives. Very, very long story short, she discovered that who she thought was her biological dad was not her biological dad. So she'll get into the details of that, but I just wanted to give you like a little snippet so that way what I'm saying makes sense. Everything pretty much blew up for her. Her parents kind of...
And you too.
Well, yeah, but it really affected you the most. It's your parents.
Yeah, true. It is, yeah.
So her parents kind of...
disowned me?
Yeah, disowned her. And through all of that, we were asked / demanded to not talk about them, as in her parents and my sister as well. And so yeah, we just haven't really talked about anything, but after a couple of years of no relationship at all, no communication,
4 years,
nothing.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fair that we should stay silent. The reason that these people don't want us to talk is because they have some sort of guilt that they feel. And as a people pleaser myself, I don't want to speak for my mom, but I have a hard time like telling stories or being open about stuff because I don't want to hurt the other people's feelings, even though they're the ones who hurt me in the first place. So that's the end of that for these people. That doesn't go to all aspects of my life. I'm still a people pleaser. Help. But, so anywho.
Oh man.
I'm going to let my mom talk. She's gonna start from the beginning. I will interject my parts of my side, like my point of view, when I have a point of view. So
all right, I was trying to find my dad's biological dad and hopefully some siblings for him. He had a couple siblings pass away that he was very close with, and I felt like he was just missing relationships, and I was just trying to provide him some new ones that would, hopefully make him really happy. That's not what I was found out, and I know a lot of people want to know if the dad who raised me, he's my dad, if my dad knew. That is a no, and I can't speak because I was just being conceived in 1970. I really think it was just a period of time in my mom's life and everybody in the early 70s really just having a fun summer, and I think she just guessed wrong, and I'm not mad about that. I've never been mad about that. Alexander and I did 3 DNA tests after the Ancestry one to verify that we were siblings. So after finding that out, I did speak to my brother that I grew up with. And at first I think out of protectiveness for my parents, because I did have a really great childhood. I loved them very much. I was daddy's little girl, I never thought there would be anything that would interfere with my relationship with my parents. And that's not true, I found out. So initially wanted to protect, but then after those kind of hardcore facts sink in, you get questions just naturally. Like, did my mom know? Did my dad know? Like, is it something that they kept a secret from me? You know, like, I don't know. I went so many different directions in my brain for like at least a month or two. And as the topic was brought to light, it just wasn't appreciated that it was brought to light, and things went badly fast. There's still no relationship there. About 4 years ago, I had some pretty big health scare with my liver. And I don't share this publicly, but anyways, I'm in stage 3 of 4 liver failure. And so when I first got diagnosed, I was really sick. Like, Dorian's dad was in town. I planned a birthday party. I couldn't be around food. I couldn't be around people. It was a rough period. So I asked my parents just to give me some time to bring down my stress level and just get my head screwed on straight. And I had one big test that I had to do, and I said I would reach out after I got those test results. After the test results, oddly enough, I sat down to shoot my parents an email. I was at work, and when I logged into my email, I had an email from my dad. And it basically said, "It's been 30 days since you asked for a month. We haven't heard from you. We're done. I'm John to you. I'm no longer your dad. Have a nice life." So as I was sitting down to do the one thing that I promised to do, the door was slammed. And I love them enough to let it be slammed. I know that this had to have been really difficult on their relationship. And, you know, they've been together 50 years. So am I upset that they chose each other over me? No, I'm not mad, but it hurts. But I don't know, like, when all that fell apart, how did it affect you? What'd you think?
I just was more upset than anything because, so when we went to Canada for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Alexander who suggested?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Alexander, he just has the kindest, gentlest heart, and he just wants to fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
So to him, he was like, maybe if you just call him. And it's like, dude, you have no idea what she has been trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because for that first year, I do feel like you tried a lot to try to reconcile things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think any amount of phone calls or emails or letters or prayers or anything, because in order to move on, both sides of the party have to be willing and able. And it was one-sided coming from my mom, she was the one who was wanting to try to reconcile and move forward. And so Alexander, he suggested, like, while you're here in Canada, I want to talk to your dad.
I think he just called my dad.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, and then
that
told us
conversation
afterwards.
they went really
great.
well.
Yeah.
And so he's like, what do you guys, like, what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
And then so we got back to our little Airbnb or whatever. She called him, and I don't remember what you guys talked about. If you want to talk about that.
I don't really remember either. I just know, like, I felt sad for how it went down with you.
I was just pissed, honestly. Because I feel like it started off okay, and then he started yelling at my mom. And in my mind, this was even before I had kids. So now that I am a mom, granted I've only been a mom for a couple of years, but I still, there are just certain things and certain people where I look at how, like, they handled situations, I just don't get it. Because as a parent, I don't know. That's a whatever thing. But
I'm with you.
Yeah, I just don't know how you sit there and, like, berate your child, even if they're grown. You're grown as well. And I just was so angry, and I kept telling my mom, like, I want to talk to him. Like, let me talk to him. I was, like, ready. I was like, let me at him. And so
I love you.
Also, we'll get to this a little bit later. I'm very protective over both of my parents, but my mom has gone through a lot with my sister, my half-sister. She has not been kind to my mom, and that pisses me off even more. So I'm just always protective over my parents. So anyways, when I heard him yelling at her, I was like, give me the phone. And I took the phone. I was walking around the hallways, and I don't remember what we talked about, but I just know he was yelling at me as well. And it didn't bother me. I was like, okay, this is a grown man yelling at his granddaughter. Like, what's really going on here? And so I wish I could remember what we talked about, but after like a 2-hour phone call, we finally settled on us being able to have a relationship with them if my mom took down her blog and if I deleted any YouTube video that mentioned them. I think it was just one. And so I unlisted that video. She deactivated her blog. Nothing got better from that point, maybe for a couple of days, but it wasn't like a long-term thing. It was very short-lived.
Yeah, it's just too much to, like, I don't think they could talk to me and then not have all those feelings.
Yeah, this is what I'm telling y'all. The lighting just keeps changing quick.
We did what we were asked to do.
Yeah.
But we were the only ones that could move forward emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was kind of the end of. After that point, I don't think I talked to them again. I wasn't super close with them. Like when I was younger, I do remember like we went on trips with them. They would come see us quite a bit. And as I got older, which this happens with family, I'm not saying this as like a bad thing. Like I didn't see them often, but they still called on my birthday. They sent a card, like, you know, they were still there. But it wasn't, I guess it didn't really affect me as much long term because it's not like I saw them every day or, you know, versus her like losing her parents, you know.
At 47.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything else about them. We could talk about Nicole too.
I think like initially, like when Alexander came and his YouTube channel was just taking off, he had a lot of people in his business. When he came, that meet and greet was absolutely nuts. And I felt bad that I couldn't help control the hype on, I guess, Alexander's end.
Yeah.
And he was so excited, like, because his dad told him, you've got a sister somewhere. Someday you're going to meet your sister. And so he felt like he was finishing something for his dad. Well, our dad. Well, what? Yeah. And so he spoke about it often. He spoke about it publicly. He did not shy away, which I thank you, Alexander, so much for just accepting me for who I was and embracing me. And like that was just when that DNA stuff was taking off. Now, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody in 20 people you know that doesn't find out some kind of secret.
Some crazy something.
So I mean, it was the 60s. Who cares? Just let's be family.
But also, even if it wasn't the 60s, even if it was the 80s, even if it was yesterday, life is about working through. If it's people that you care about and you want to keep in your life, you work through it, you sit down, you have a hard conversation, and you move forward.
Yeah.
And that's the part that upsets me about it is I'm at like the side of Alexander that wants to fix everything. I have a little bit of that in me, but I also can recognize when there's no hope, I guess.
Well, and I saw once, I think I told you, like, it was this clip art or something that said you can't make peace with somebody that only wants war.
Yeah.
And that hit me big time because no matter how much I want peace, like if peace isn't being offered from the other side, like you said, there's never a resolution. So I just had to let it be. And I think walking away from my parents, like, you know how of a dark spot I got. And unfortunately, that really interfered with my relationship with you and Peter. And I was so scared when you guys got pregnant with Henry that, oh man.
It's okay. Take your time.
I guess like what it boiled down to was that if at 47 my parents could walk away from me, like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't Peter? And then what if I get to know this little guy that's so awesome and then he goes away too, you know? I guess just once the deep-rooted relationships can just be gone overnight, it's hard to trust loving somebody else.
And also, because she is already, out of the 2 kids that she has, one of them did walk away. So it's not even like it's just your parents. It's at that time, everything around her was crumbling. And so yeah, that was a really hard time for everyone.
Yeah, because I put a lot of stress on you guys.
Well,
too.
You had a lot of stress in your life. I never hold that against you. And I think, I don't know the time frame of all of the stuff with Nicole happening. Well, for my mom, it was her whole childhood. My sister's whole life.
On that real quick, I want to say, I wish I would have known then the tools that they have now for a strong-willed child.
Yeah.
It would have made all the difference in everything with her.
Well, you don't know that.
I don't know, but
always, it's not, maybe it would have given her a couple of tools to navigate certain situations, but I think that's like saying I wish that your parents would have had, like, people end up where they end up no matter what tools they have accessible to them. So that time, I don't remember the exact time frame, but Henry was less than a year old or close to a year old. But there was one moment that happened that I guess really put into perspective how much she was struggling. So I like sat down and I prayed for a long time, and we had a really hard conversation at the same exact table.
Yep.
And this is what I'm saying. When you really love someone and you want to keep them in your life, you talk about the hard things and you move on from it. You grow from it. Not just move on, you grow from it. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I just had to keep telling, like, girl, I'm not going anywhere. Okay? Get out of your head. I'm not leaving. Peter's not leaving. No one's leaving. Worst case scenario, we set boundaries. We say, don't do that for, like, both of us. Like, if I do something, she doesn't. Like, we just talk through it. I would never just be like, you know, it's a Thursday. I'm kind of over it. I'm blocking it. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Thank you.
So, yes, it trickled all the way down to the deepest relationships that she has. And that part is what affected me the most out of all of it. This sounds maybe emotionless or whatever, I don't know, insensitive. But like I said, I wasn't close with them, especially as I got older. They didn't come to our wedding. So losing them affected me way less than it affected her, obviously. Losing the relationship with my sister, I'm sorry, but it barely affected me because of, I don't even know.
Go for it.
Our childhood, like she just was not the best sister to me. So it wasn't until we got married, Peter and I got married, I invited her to our wedding. I asked her to be a bridesmaid and she said no because she didn't want to wear a dress. So I was like, cool. I didn't even know if she was going to come actually because she had some work thing, which I'm glad she was able to make it. That was the first time Peter met her and Peter loved her. I was like, yeah, it's cool when you didn't have to grow up with her. Like,
that's horrible.
like there are certain people that are cool in passing, but like when you are like, you know, it's different. Yeah. And so I was actually really hopeful for our relationship after that point because I was like, maybe we just need to grow up. Maybe she just needs to see me as like not 8-year-old little Alyssa. And she asked to get a matching tattoo with me and I said, girl, we need to work on our relationship a little bit before we go and get permanent ink on our bodies, which I'm really glad I was brave and I said that. we texted every once in a while. We sent each other birthday gifts. We sent Merry Christmas text messages. It was very just like a baseline relationship. The breaking point for my relationship with my sister was one day my dad calls me. So
Oh, yeah.
her dad, we're half sisters, share the same mom, different dads. I don't know when he left the picture or whatever for her.
When we left when she was about 3.
Right. And when did you meet my dad?
When she was about 4.
And then he was in the
There,
picture ever since.
Since then, yeah.
So my dad practically raised her. And how old were you guys? Like 20 something?
Mm-hmm.
So
I was 19 when I had her.
yeah.
Yeah.
So to meet a guy who would give up his 20s, well, not all the way give up, because they did some crazy stuff.
We did do some crazy stuff.
I'm not saying he was a house dad. But still, to meet a guy who would give up, certain aspects of his 20s to raise a kid who isn't his own, I feel like is very commendable. And
he used to call, like when him and I would break up, he would call and ask to take Nicole to the park and play. Like, he wasn't like, hey, I miss you. I was like, hey,
right,
what's
like,
Nicole doing?
Nicole doing?
So, and at first I was like, is this guy a creeper? Like, why is he asking to hang out with my kid? But he legitimately loved her.
Yeah. And I mean, you could tell anyone who was around us, like you could just tell.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like he didn't give off stepdad vibes.
No.
So anyways, all of that to say, my dad called me one day. He was holding back tears. I could hear his voice was shaky. And he was like, well, your sister just texted me. She pretty much told me that I was a terrible stepdad and that she doesn't consider me her stepdad anymore and just all these terrible things. And that was the point where I was like, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
So I let my dad talk. And I was going to visit my friend who at the time worked in a coffee shop in a hospital. So I was sitting in the lobby of the Kids Cancer Center, talking to my dad, holding back tears, hung up the phone, immediately called my sister, and she didn't answer. So I sent her a text. I said, my dad told me about what happened. Do you want to call me? Can you help me understand from your point of view? She said, I'm at work, but no thank you. I'm done with that entire situation and want to move on. I don't want to talk about anything else. I said, okay. I wanted to give you a chance to explain your side of things instead of me assuming, but I'm not going to force you to talk about it. What you say to my parents has effects on me too. It hurts me to see the way you talk to/treat them after everything they've done for both of us. My dad didn't have any obligation to raise you, but he treated you like his own daughter. To say that you don't have a stepdad anymore is disregarding everything that he's done for you, which is not fair. We both grew up in the same house and I have nothing but respect for them. There comes a point in life where you have to stop holding a grudge against them. I have stood by in silence this whole time. You are treating Mom like crap, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I am grown, I have my own thoughts and feelings, and I'm being honest with you for the first time in a long time. I'm just wondering, do you want to have a relationship with me? And if so, how do you expect to? And she said, I'm not getting into this with you. I'm done talking about this. Make the assumption you want to, because I honestly don't care. I wish you the best in your life and hope you'll do great things. Goodbye. I'll be blocking you after this message. I didn't try to text her back because, like I said earlier, I can recognize when you're not going to get anywhere with anyone. Mm-hmm. And this was that moment when she didn't even want to try to defend herself. And then I texted her, so that was November 1st, 2019. April 10th, 2020, I said, Happy National Siblings Day, love and miss you. July 24th at 11:40 p.m., I said, do you still have me blocked? This was when we had our second miscarriage, the ectopic pregnancy, and at that point, I realized that I wished I had like some type of sister relationship because, don't get me wrong, my parents were there for me any way I needed, but there's something different about like talking to your sister, talking to your friend, you know? And so She said, "It's almost 2 a.m. What could you possibly need to tell me so late? And what do y'all not understand that I want to be left alone? Not giving you any more content to put in your YouTube channel or Heather's blog about my life. Please leave me alone. Move on." I said, "Sorry, I forgot about the time difference. A lot has been happening lately. A lot of hard stuff that I wish I could call and talk to my sister about. Peter and I were pregnant and then found out I had an ectopic pregnancy and had to have emergency surgery. Before anything bad happened, I just wanted to call you and tell you that you were going to be an auntie. And then we lost someone really close to us on Peter's side of the family, and I never want to take any relationship for granted. I just want you to know that I love you so much and I always will no matter what is going on between us. I'm sorry for bugging you. I miss you, that's all." And this was the point. I was already pissed, but after this, I was like, you know what?
Uh-oh.
She said, "Your entire life is on social media, Lissa. How do you think I already knew all of that before now?" That's right, because you both have created a world for everyone to see. A world that still has an effect on my life. As long as you both are on social media for the whole world to see, I do not want a relationship with any of you. We were never close ever," which is true. "So not sure why you're wanting to have a sister relationship all of a sudden. You never wanted that with me anyways. Heather is your best friend. Talk to her. Not sure what you were thinking was going to happen by messaging me, but I'm sticking with wanting to be left alone." And this is the last one. Just bear with me. I responded, I said, "I wasn't sure if you knew since you said you blocked me, and I assumed you blocked me on everything. I didn't think you watched my YouTube channel anyways. After I posted that last video explaining what happened, I assumed that if you watched it and you cared about me, you would have reached out. I do talk to Mom, but I always wish I could talk to you like I talk to my sister-in-law. I have been struggling a lot lately, and I was hoping that you'd be there for me. Do you think that the fact that we have never had a close relationship is only my fault? I literally grew up scared of you. The way you treated me and the way you talked to me, I was walking around eggshells. I was always walking on eggshells around you. I have so many memories of us growing up and me being scared to even ask you a question because of the way you treated me. I put all of that aside and I've tried to have a relationship with you, but it's tiring when it's all one-sided. I eventually stopped trying, and then the only times we would text was saying happy birthday to each other. I won't text you again. Love you, and please don't let your hard heart towards me let you think otherwise." And she sent thumbs up emoji and the peace sign. And so yeah, like I said in the text message, I realized that if she saw that I was going through probably the hardest time of my life and she couldn't put aside whatever the heck was going on to text me, she obviously did not care. So that was my cutoff point with her. And I think a year after that, it was her birthday. It's in my calendar still because she's in my contacts. And Peter was like, "It's your sister's birthday, you should text her." And I said, "Her name's Nicole, I'm not texting her." And he said, "Come on." I was like, "No, what is it gonna do? What is it gonna do?" And he said, "Just text her." So I did. "Happy birthday, hope you're having a good day." She said, "Leave me alone and tell Heather to leave me alone. I don't want anything from either of you. Just effing stop already." And I told Peter, I was like, "What do you think was gonna happen?"
Is that the year that like she
money?
turned 32? Yeah. And I always want to send some, like, of course, I gave birth to her. She was my first child. I miss her. I love her. I wish it was different. I just wanted to send a little something that she knew I was thinking about her, and same thing, backfired. But you didn't know I did it, and I didn't know you did it, so...
I wasn't even going to tell her, because it's nothing new. I was just like, whatever, I don't want to stress her out. But then, she told me, I think you guys came over for dinner or something, because I saw you, and you told me, and I said, yeah, I showed her the text messages. I was just like,
I know, because I was like, now it makes sense why she mentioned me. But yeah, I was like, what? Yeah. So, I don't know. But she wasn't mad enough to send the $32 bill, so.
I was like, oh, can I get a refund?
Yeah. So, have fun.
Yeah.
So
my sister was upset throughout this whole Alexander thing.
But her name, no photos.
That's the part where I just eye roll. These people are out here acting like we're stalking them, recording them, putting their pictures up, talking trash about them. Like, we have done none of that. Even this, I'm not talking trash. I read facts directly from my phone. I read text directly from my phone. And we're talking about our side of the story, which you can't say isn't true because it's our story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
That's that.